This meeting is being recorded by committee chairs. If any other persons present are doing the same, you must notify the chairperson at this time. All right, seeing none. Can I get a roll call of counselors, please?
Sure.
Or if you don't have it in front of you, I can do it.
I have it. I have it. President Gilmore,
Present.
Vice President Gwynn,
Here.
Councilor Disorder,
Here.
Councilor Elmer,
Here.
Councilor Forgy,
Here.
Councilor Bottomley.
Here.
Madam President, you have a quorum. I do
Thank
want to
you.
take a second to see that other councilors are logged in to remind them not to participate in the event that a quorum of the council was created by their participation.
Yes, thank you. But yes, people are welcome to stay and listen. All right, so under President's notes, first we have policies and procedures to resume in-person council and subcommittee meetings. Does anyone have any thoughts they want to get started?
I mean, I'll just say, Sheila, you know, I was one that wants to get back to in-person as soon as possible originally, you know, especially to have the full council meetings in person and the subcommittees in this. But right now, I don't think it behooves any of us to get together, you know, while this variant is still taking numbers, and there's more people that I know that have COVID now than I did through the whole pandemic. So I would recommend that we hold tight until we see a significant change, but that's just my opinion.
Okay.
President Gilmore.
Yes.
So I think that maybe in February, well, I mean, I would like it if we took up at some point remote participation also, so that that is an option for all boards. I know that we voted it in on disability access as long as there's a majority of the board that is present in person. And I agree with Councilor Gwynn. I went to the Board of Health meeting, or no, I didn't go to the Board of Health meeting. I watched it, and it's striking where the numbers were. But I think that that is something just that's forward looking, to look for the remote participation angle. We also have a Director Gilman who will be participating remotely, and there may be the need for that as this goes along. That's what I have to say.
Yes. Yeah, and we're actually going to take that up in a little bit more detail in a few minutes.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. They're very closely related. But I just wanted to let you know it is on the agenda. So it's not like we have to wait till March to talk about it.
Okay.
Is there anyone else who has strong opinions about meeting in person versus remotely?
I had a question, Phil.
Sure.
Where are we on hybrid? Last I heard, they'd set it up for City Hall, but we don't have it yet for John's On.
That's my understanding. So I believe it's set up in the meeting room in Town Hall, and people are starting to get trained on how to operate the equipment. So I don't think anyone from City Council has been trained yet, but certain town employees. And if there's anyone on the call who knows more about this than I do, feel free to jump in. I'm just trying to relay the best information I have.
Thanks.
I think for hybrid, I heard Danny Letourneau say that they're waiting on there's a piece of equipment that's on back order for the big meeting hall in the John's On.
Right. And last we heard, we did not have an ETA.
Right.
So we don't know when that's going to be in. But whether or not that piece of equipment comes in, I know Charlie Baker's order expires in April, and I don't know if it expires on April 1st or April 30th. Does anybody have that at their fingertips?
No.
Kathy?
So it may seem like hybrid and remote participation and virtual meetings are similar, but they are all very different. The hybrid meeting that IT is working on, to my knowledge, no one in our office has been trained on the equipment yet, and there is still equipment that is waiting for John's on. Remote participation is for the committee, the council only. Remote participation doesn't have, like Jenny mentioned earlier, anything to do with Liz being able to attend a meeting. It's about the council, the quorum of the council, who is in attendance. There are only, I want to say 5, but it may be 4. I'm a little loopy. I apologize. There are specific reasons on why someone can use remote participation. It's not because there will be a quorum of the council there and I want to stay home because I may be exposed to something. That is not a reason. If you are ill, that is a reason. That was just one example. So, President Gilmore, you had mentioned the current order that expires, and it expires on April 1st.
Okay.
There is a proposal, whether it will be accepted or not, to extend it to July 15th. Don't ask me why they picked the middle of the month. It's kind of crazy, but that's what they did. But it has not been passed yet.
Okay.
So, I don't know if I hit the talking points, and I think Tammy was ready to jump in. I just wanted to take it off her chest and give you my thoughts on it. But that's all I've got to say.
Thank you. And it would, I do want other counselors to have an opportunity to weigh in on this. And hopefully, we have to stay remote for February because that's the way everything is listed for right now. That's what we had decided prior to this. So February 16th, a lot can happen between now and then. So we'll learn a little bit more. So do we have any objections to just bringing this to the full council at our February 16th meeting?
No.
Okay. All right. So and maybe we want to take I'm not sure what order we want to take up the meeting. I want to see what other issues we have on the agenda first. It makes sense to either do this one first or do this one last. So next I've got proposed amendments to the rules of procedure. Kathy, do you want to go over this with us, or would you rather hold this for next month?
I'm not prepared at the moment to go over it. I don't know if Tammy is, but I'm amenable to putting it to next month.
Okay. Is Tammy here?
I believe so.
I am.
Okay. We have a bunch of city councils. So,
Yeah.
Tammy, did you want to go over this now, or do you want to talk about it in March?
With A&O still working on the charter, I think it would be a good idea to maybe hold this off until they're done. They're finished with the charter before we, excuse me, tackle this rules of procedure.
I agree.
Okay, great.
We could bring it back next month.
Yes, that sounds perfect. So we'll keep this under president's notes for now. Next I have noise complaints. So I know that probably all of us, but definitely a number of us have been receiving complaints from different residents in town about noise. One person emails us pretty frequently. And this is something that I think that we should explore as far as like a quality of life issue. I don't know if this needs to be a matter of enforcement or if this is going to be a matter of, I know we don't currently have an ordinance, but we do have plenty of state laws. And I think we need to get into a discussion before we start changing anything. So I was thinking this one would go to CRE.
Can I just make one point? I believe we do have ordinances on the books that deal with sound in the present. So
Do we?
yeah, I think we can request from Tammy maybe to find those in the ordinances. I know there was time. I'm pretty sure we have something that deals with mowing your lawn before certain times. I know they exist. So I think we should look at those first and not recreate the wheel if it's already there. Just find out how we could, implement it or find out what we've done with it.
Okay, because I know that someone did bring forward a noise ordinance a few years ago and it failed. So I assumed that meant we didn't have an ordinance already.
Yeah, I think we do. And I don't want to say 100% because now you have me questioning my thought, but I think we just need to have someone check and just, between now and then just review what might already be there.
Right. Yeah. And I don't know if this is going to become, an A&O issue or not, because it might be a matter of enforcing what we already have, or, maybe it needs to be updated. Maybe we need to look at it. And so I want this one to go on CRE because I feel like there's the community relations piece.
Oh, I
So
think
John,
that's
if unless you have any objections,
Oh, not
and
at
we're
all.
looking at a lot. Okay. John, we're looking at a lot for CRE. So this one, I think.
Yeah, I don't think it would be this month, but it'd be good to get any documents we have if there are any ordinances or anything on the books about this would be
Right.
helpful.
I have something under zoning on that. It's a time thing. It isn't a noise level. I believe it's 7 a.m. to 10, but I can forward that to you, John. It's in the zoning.
Yeah, and maybe, it's up to you as the chair of the committee, you can do it how you want, but you can either invite folks that have lodged complaints, or you can assign committee members to research the regulations that are already in place. I mean, however you want to get started on that. And we can just have it listed as a discussion item, and if we don't get to it at CRE, that's okay too. But I don't want to leave it off and then forget to take it back up in March. So,
Yes, yep.
President Gilmore, this is Kathy.
yes.
Could Councilor Disorder also send that to the council office, please?
Oh, yes, I will, of course. Yep.
Thank you.
Yes, anytime anyone sends anything to any other counselor, they should CC Kathy and Tammy just so that they know what people are looking at. Okay, next is housing in Greenfield. Susan Wargaftic brought that. She sent that to John and me. I don't know if she sent it to anyone else. And I believe that that's specifically about affordable housing. So that's going to be a CRE issue. I think that's more about sort of updating us on what they've been working on with the Greenfield Affordable Housing Program.
Yes, I believe so.
All right. Okay. Now, Jenny, here's where we have remote participation. So remote participation is the one specifically for city councilors. So that's not the one for the public.
So I just know that we used it and that each body themselves must vote on that. They must vote to accept it or not. Clerk Scott, of course, was right on that. I know that we actually adopted it in planning board and we adopted it in disability access, and there are extenuating circumstances when it can be used. I think I'm 90% sure, I don't have that in front of me, but that traveling is one of, if you were out of state, that is one of the reasons. Illness is another reason, but I don't have all those in front of me. But I do think that it's something, I know that this body adopted it at one point, and then I think rescinded it because I remember the time when they used it. And I just think it's something that for however long this is, that I think we should reconsider that. We've all gotten very adept at different methods, and there are different regulations that go with it. And I think it's when things do, when and if they ever get back to some semblance of normal, I think it would be a good thing to have. That's my thoughts.
Okay, so it seems to me that that should go to the full council, but do we have any kind of document that we need? I can look through, I'm sure I still have the email somewhere, but this was something that we had taken up years ago and we ended up voting it out. So I can look for that document, but my question for Kathy is, without that document in front of me right now, can we put this on the February agenda, or do we need to wait until I find that document and then put it up for March?
So the way remote participation works is, I don't know the year, but the Mayor Martin allowed it for any and all groups for the city of Greenfield. The council opted out of it. So there is that opt-out document that we have. We also have what I would call a cheat sheet, which shows you the 4 or 5 reasons that are allowed to be used for remote participation, the manner in which you could remote in, and some helpful hints on what it means to the council, what procedures need to be followed, what notes need to be made in the minutes, that sort of thing. I can ask Tammy she's right here, so she can tell you herself, forward out what I would call the cheat sheet. She sent it to me earlier today. And also the section of the CMR that allows for remote participation, which is the full explanation on how remote participation needs to be handled. Then, whatever committee wanted to discuss that, that can go in their packet and let the discussion begin. And if you want to send it straight to full council, that's completely your choice.
Yeah, I don't feel like this fits really well on one particular committee, so I think maybe the full council should take a look at it, unless.
Sorry, it may not specifically fit, but you may want to have the 5 committee members dive into it a little bit deeper, so that those 5 members are
That's
really
true.
giving their advisory information to the full council.
Okay, that's a good point. All right, so I don't know, Dan or John, you guys want to, do either of you think it would work? I know, Dan, you've got a lot for A&O, but
Yeah.
it seems like it.
I'm hoping, I just don't know how quick. I'd like to think we're starting to wrap up A&O. I'd like to think in the next couple meetings we'll be done with this project and I can do something else. But I'm not sure how we want to. Sheila, what are you looking to accomplish? I mean, what are we looking to do?
To explore, how it would work if we opt in for remote participation, which it sounds like so many other bodies are already doing that. I don't think it's going to be, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So I don't think it would have to be a very long discussion. I think just recommendations to the council on whether we should or not.
Yeah. John, do you have a preference? I don't have a problem if we take it up. But if you think you want to, if any committee wants to take a look at it, I'll probably just get some back data from town hall on who's presently doing it and see where we're at.
That would be great for me if you want to take that up.
Thanks, John. No problem. I'll take that on. You want to do that sooner than later, I'm guessing. All right. let me start doing my homework on it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Which means Tammy will be doing her homework. So, I'll get with her tomorrow.
All right. So the next one is, I see a dollar sign, so that's easy. Rescind $350,000 borrowing authorities for the skate park appropriation. So that is going to go to Ways and Means.
That's fine.
Enforcement of city housing code. That one's going to be CRE. Unless anyone has any objections. And then, good.
Yeah, I was just going to say this is connected. It's probably a multi-part discussion, but it's connected to a request that was sent to council in November by Jesus Leyva. If I'm saying his last name correctly, I'm sorry, I don't know.
No, you are.
You are.
So I think that will be the large part of discussion to begin to start with.
All right. So
I
we'll
think
leave that one on.
Yeah, I think it makes sense to let John start that. This has been started in a couple of different areas, and we seem to bog down. So a lot of it has to do with it being more the executive side than the legislative side. So it gets a little bit tough to wade through, but I think CRE makes sense.
Right. All right. So the next thing I see on my list is the gas moratorium submitted by Councilor Healy. And that one, I'm not sure is in our wheelhouse, but I think that might be a good topic for EDC.
I agree. I agree.
Okay, great. You want to take that one, Phil?
Yeah, I thought Councilor Healy made a good case that it is directly relevant to economic development. My thought was, can we get someone from the gas company to come and explain why we have it still?
If you can find a good contact person who'd be willing to come to your meeting, I think that'd be fantastic.
I'll try.
Phil, they've always been willing to talk in the past. So I mean, finding a person is probably a thing, but between you and Councilor Healy, it makes sense that we track that down.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. All right. So then the ad hoc committee to discuss funding for the fire station. I think I have this right, but Kathy, feel free to jump in if I'm remembering any of this wrong. But this is something that is going to go to the full council, and the full council will vote whether to approve that. Is that correct?
Yeah, the council will need to vote to create the committee. There should be, the council doesn't need to vote the explanation of their duties, but they should know what the duties are. And then they should also vote for the committee members to be until, the project is completed, or have an end date in that order.
Okay. Yeah, so that one can just go straight to city council. Next, yes. I'm sorry, if I'm rushing, just stop me.
No, we're actually going slow, but it's good. Councilor President Gilmore, I would just say that Kathy needs some structure to that before it goes to council floor, is what she recommended. So I'm not sure who wants to take that on to say the start date, the structure, what its intent is. So Councilor Forgy was, it came out of Ways and Means. Maybe she could write a draft of what we're looking for, and then full council could go for it. You know what I mean? Because if we just bring it up on council floor, there'll be no structure to submit.
That's okay. I'm willing to do that.
Okay.
I think that
right.
was happy.
Yeah. Nope, that sounds good to me. All right, appointments and reappointments. That's going to go to A&O as usual.
No problem.
Great. All right, now we're into the agendas. So economic development looks like, okay, so cleanup of 294, 296 Federal Street, clarification of title, city's liability for selling the site if not complete, public involvement plan, and then declare the real estate as surplus property and transfer to the mayor for sale. So those are all, oh, and authorize the mayor to sell the property. So those are all kind of tied up in that same Lunt property right there. So those are
Basically,
staying.
picking up where Councilor Disorder left off. I thought we had a good meeting about it. We learned a lot. I felt like we hadn't heard from the other side, so that's something we're hoping to talk to the mayor about, producing some people, some experts on the city side.
Yeah.
And
So
then
do you want to take that one up first, or do you want to do the gas moratorium first? What do you think makes the most sense?
Well, let's see who we can get. Basically, we're looking to get witnesses, and if we get a good one from gas, that might make sense to go first with that.
Okay,
We'll
so
see.
let's list gas first, and if it turns out that you're not able to get someone, it can always get tabled. But that one might be, I'm
Easier?
imagining that there would be fewer people there for that discussion, so maybe we get to release them and they get to go home and eat dinner.
Okay.
And then,
All right. The PIP has been scheduled, and then we've also scheduled a joint meeting with the planning board on some zoning changes.
yes, I see that here. And everyone's able to attend, so that's good. Okay, next I have appointments and ordinances. So the mayor's appointments and reappointments. And then the charter changes.
And there was, what did I just take on? I just took something on. What did I say I would talk about? John, what did you make me take?
Oh, that was remote participation. Right?
So I don't know if we want to talk about that. We probably should have some discussion on that on the agenda.
Yeah. So do you want to do that one first? Because that'll be sort of quick.
Yep. Well, I don't know. Yeah, let's do that first, and then we'll do the appointments from the mayor. We had a couple of things to talk about here. I don't know if anyone saw their email today, but the mayor vetoed the changes that we voted on at full council for the school department. Specifically, she vetoed the piece about the mayor not being able to serve as the chair. That's the specific piece that she vetoed. I saw the explanation today, and she gave her reasoning why she vetoed it. When it's a mayoral veto on this, Kathy or Tammy might be able to help me. But the biggest thing is, if it's a mayoral veto on charter changes, we have to have the mayor sign off on the charter changes in order for them to go to the state legislature. So if the mayor doesn't agree, then it stops. So it's kind of a situation. We have to get the buy-in from the mayor on our changes, or they don't go forward anyway.
Well, we have to vote on whether we're going to accept the veto, because if we override the veto, then it would just stay how it is.
That's the correct language for overriding a veto. But what I'm saying is, if we were to override the veto and it goes forward, the mayor still, there's going to still be a problem with her accepting it when it goes to the legislature. So that's the point that I need to have clarified.
Oh, I see.
See, I mean, it's two different things. One, she's vetoing our vote, but if we overrode the veto, because it has to deal with power of the mayor, we then have to find out, if she doesn't sign off on the charter changes, what happens. Councilor Forgy might have some insight on this, or Clerk Scott, or Tammy. I'm not sure how that goes, because normally we override a veto. That's the situation, or we accept it.
Right. Well, I've got Kathy first, and then I have Chris.
Thank you, President Gilmore. So there's two things. By the charter, the council does have to take up the veto. They can override the veto or uphold the veto. That is their choice. And so that's one piece of it. Councilor Gwynn is correct in saying that the legislature will only consider a charter change if both the executive and the legislative body agree that it should be made. So by virtue of a veto, the mayor does not agree that it should be made. Even if the council were to override the veto and uphold the vote, the legislature would not consider it because not both parties agree on it. If there is any, I haven't read the mayor's reasoning for the veto. If there is any room in that the committee or the council could work with the mayor to come up with a change that would be accepted, that is available to the council.
And it seems to me, oh no, hold on. I had Chris next. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
Well, yeah, I agree with everything that's being said. The political value of overriding a veto is that it sends a message. So even if you went, the full council went and voted to override, and as Kathy has stated, the state is not going to, implement the change, it will still, the state will receive the history that it was voted upon, it was vetoed, and then it was voted upon again. And the result of that is made public. So that's the, it may not seem like, it may seem like an exercise in, futility because the outcome will be the same, but in reality, it will deliver what the people in Greenfield and the people working on charter change and everything else heard from people in Greenfield and the school committee about the change.
Right.
So there's a
Yeah.
political element. There's a political element to it as well.
Yeah. And because we did hear a lot about that from folks who came to our public hearing.
Yeah.
I know not everyone was in attendance, but Chris Forgy and I and former Councilor Wheeler served on the Charter Review Committee. And that was one where we had a lot of folks who came out and spoke for that one. But it also seems to me that if we override a veto, I mean, the mayor isn't here to speak for herself, but it seems like to not sign off on the charter because of one relatively small change, it doesn't, like, I don't see her like holding up the process unless this is something that was very important to her.
Well, you have to take it from the mayor's point of view, which is that she is a strong mayor. And this is basically, that's the argument, Sheila, that we were debating, is that appropriate? Is it not appropriate? But again, it's my thinking on this is that it should go back out to council, and then council can dispose of it whichever way it votes. But the procedure should be to go back out to council.
Can I just make one statement also,
Yes.
President Gilmore? My thought on this also is I don't believe it's an all or nothing proposition for the mayor either on the entire charter. I think she can do exactly what we did, which is say, I don't accept this. I don't accept this. I don't think it's the whole charter. So if she has, in this case of this mayor, if she has 2 or 3 things she disagrees with us at the end, she could tell us she didn't accept those 2 or 3 things. It wouldn't be the whole package. But I still believe that it should go to full council to look at the veto because it's a symbolic issue. And we should follow procedure and still bring it up to full council for mayoral override. I will add one other piece. I am kind of disappointed in the fact that we asked for submission for the charter changes. Your committee did, that you sat on with Otis and Chris, and they were all recommendations, and they were sent in. They were discussed. We then sent our the recommendations to the school committee and asked for opinion, and they had time to submit written opinion on any of the proposed changes. We heard nothing on this. Nobody, we didn't hear from the mayor's office. We didn't hear from the school committee. If she's a sitting member of the school committee, then she was aware that it was happening, and then it didn't come forward. That was the time it should have been discussed, because then we could have worked on it in committee. We could have worked on it then. It wouldn't have gone to vote, get vetoed, go back, come back. It's just a waste of time. And I really would like to move this charter changes forward. And so I'm a bit disappointed on how that developed. But that being said, we need to follow through.
Right. Yeah, we'll deal with what's in front of us. Kathy, was that you a second time in the chat? Or
Yes. So just to be clear, the charter requires it to go back to the council. So the council doesn't have a choice. They have to consider, there's a timeline in there, but the council has to consider it at their next meeting, I believe.
okay. Well, it's a good thing we're all in. It's a good thing we're all in agreement then.
Something like that. And so far, the mayor has, every single charter change the council has voted, they have gone to the mayor. She has approved all of them with exception of this one. We send them up as the council votes, just to let everyone know.
Yep.
So going back to my meeting, so that I don't know if we need to discuss that at A&O, but I think it should be brought up. So I'd like it somewhere on the agenda that it's going to go up to the full council, just so if it comes up, we can discuss it.
Okay, let me see what we've. Okay, so we don't have it listed under the full council draft agenda yet. So let's put it in both places.
Perfect.
And then you also have a little bit of Article 2, some of Article 6 and Article 7.
Right.
Left.
Article 2, I think I have to talk with Tammy. I'll give her a call tomorrow. I believe the reason that we couldn't work on some of Article 2 last time was because we've got it narrowed down to 2.8, but I think in changing 2.8, we have to change, like, this isn't specific, this is generalization. We have to change like 2.6 or 2.7, and it wasn't on the agenda, so I couldn't bring it up. So I have to look at that. So when it comes up, we can finish that. But it involves more articles than 2.8. So I think, it might be 2.8C or something, but I'll talk to Tammy and make sure we get Article 2 on the agenda so it can be tackled.
Okay, perfect.
And then Article 6 is correct. And then Article 7. And obviously, Tammy has been phenomenal in helping me through this, and she continues to put everything on there, even though we know we're not going to get to everything.
Okay, that was going to be my next question: is do you think you'll actually get to Article 7? But
I think we'll get to some of Article 7. I think Board of Health we need to tackle. After I have this meeting, I usually talk with Councillor Forgy as she was on the committee review committee, and we kind of look at the amount of time it's going to take. We knew, when you take on some of these, they take more time. There's also a piece, I believe, is it Board of Health? Is Councillor Forgy still on with us? Is Board of Health the one we took on last time and we voted it all through except one piece? Was that Board of Health?
No.
What was that one? Remember you were working on one piece of it, but we had voted the rest of it in. What was
Public
that?
safety.
That's public safety,
That's public safety. Excuse me. It was public safety.
Okay. Yeah, that was, thank you. Public safety took a long time. That's not on the agenda. So it's probably not rewritten yet. So we won't get to it anyways, but I might have to add that to the agenda, but I need to talk to Councillor Forgy to see where we are with those. some things that we take on take multiple trips, and I got to keep bringing them back, but we're going to get it right.
Right.
Are you going to put Board of Health on for your A&O?
Yeah, well, it's on right now.
Okay,
Board,
good. Okay.
Board of Health and Board of License Commissioners, both are still on in 6. I'd like to think we can finish 6.
Okay.
And what will probably happen, President Gilmore, is when you look at 7, we probably will do what I did with some of the other articles, which is I'll jump around. If 7-9 is going to be just some maintenance, we'll do 7-9 right off the bat, get rid of it. We might go to 7-12, recall election or whatever, and just if we can nip them in the bud and then go on, knowing that some of them are going to take longer, but they'll all be listed. I tell everyone that sends me an email, anyone that gives me a phone call, there's a chance we'll talk about them all, but I can't guarantee which ones we're going to do when, but we are winding down.
Thought it was never going to end.
I cannot wait. There's no one more excited about these charter changes being over than me. But it's gone well. I'm not complaining. And
I know.
For you,
it's a lot of work. Yeah.
For you and Chris that have been doing this for 2 years, I would be lost without Councilor Forgy just waging through this. So I appreciate all the input, and it will be good because then once we're done with this, I'm going to talk someone else into chairing A&O. We're getting there. We're getting there. So yes, I don't see anything else to add to the agenda. I'll just go over some of the sections with Tammy. I'll stop talking.
All right. Sounds good. All right. CRE. No, not like that, Dan.
I know. Don't worry about it.
CRE. Okay. So the next regular meeting is scheduled for a holiday. John, I know you had told me that you were looking at other days on the calendar, but I don't remember what day you were talking about.
Yeah, is our policy to change on a holiday? It's President's Day. I don't know if that's a big deal or not. I mean, can we still hold the meeting, or should I attempt to move it?
I personally would be fine with meeting on a holiday if we don't have to have support from the clerk's office, because I know that they're off that day and it's a long weekend for them. But normally a committee chair opens up their own meetings anyways. If you want to check with your committee members, I'm a committee member and I'm okay with going.
President Gilmore?
Yes. Did I just say something wrong?
No, you did not say anything wrong. Just to let you know, the logic that has come down from that before, from open meeting law, is would the public reasonably anticipate that there would be a board meeting or a committee meeting on a holiday?
Okay. No, that's a good point. And this is CRE, so we want the community. Yeah.
They suggest not holding meetings on holidays. You can feel free to reschedule if you'd like to try to do that. And if your committee is looking at choosing an alternate regular meeting date, that can also be done.
I mean, I did preliminary check the calendar just to keep it on a Monday. And the 28th, it didn't look like there were any other city meetings, at least not on the calendar.
Has there been any conversation with your committee members whether they could attend on that night?
No.
Okay. So you'd first want to find out. Tammy knows how to do this. She does it all the time.
Okay.
Probably shaking her head and giggling, or maybe not, frowning, to see if CRE could be rescheduled to the following Monday.
Okay.
Yes. Don't send it to the whole committee. Just send it to Kathy and Tammy and they'll wrangle.
Okay.
All right. So hopefully we can get that rescheduled so that we don't have to wait until March. If we do have to wait until March, then that's fine. But we're going to go ahead and assume that all is well. So we're going to have housing in Greenfield, enforcement of housing codes. What else did we talk about? noise
Noise
complaints,
ordinance, yep. Or noise complaints, sorry, yes.
and then I think that was just those three things for CRE, correct?
I think so, yep.
Or am I missing something?
I think that's it.
Okay. All right, good. Ways and means. I'm seeing rescinding the borrowing authority for the skate park.
Mhm.
The discussion on split tax rate,
That's
formation of the
ongoing.
ad-hoc. I'm sorry?
That will be ongoing. And
Yes.
I'd like to invite the people that I invited last time, which were our two elected assessors, to help with the conversation, and also Liz, if she's willing to attend. I think we picked out some very good points to follow up on, and really I will formulate the guidelines for the discussion. So we'll be good.
All right, sounds good. And then after that is the ad hoc committee.
Yep.
And then the capital budget report for FY23. Do you have do you like this order?
Yeah, the order is fine. The last item is something that is currently being worked on and everything else at this point, but it would just be more of a commentary piece or an update as to where everything's going for the budget, so people are basically aware.
Okay. All right, so that all sounds good to me. And then I think for the city council meeting, the full committee meeting, I think if we can talk about remote participation, whether we're going to continue to participate remotely or go back to in-person meetings, if we can talk about that first and then go into the rescission and then appointments, and then maybe let's take up the veto right before the other charter amendments. Does that make sense to folks?
Mhm.
Yes. Or even before mayor's appointments, somewhere in there.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it before the appointments. And then when we go through the appointments, it'll help us sort of switch gears as we go through the other charter amendments.
And as I mentioned to you, President Gilmore, I'm flying that day, so there's a chance that I won't make the meeting, and I'll have to have someone step in and cover those items, which Public Safety Commission and the reappointments and such shall be straightforward.
Okay. Chris, do you think that maybe you could kind of guide us through
Yes.
you've been doing, let's not lie, okay? You've been doing all this so much anyways.
I am.
Yeah.
All right.
And I'll go over it with Councillor Forgy if there's just a chance. Right now, I scheduled my flight so I could do our meeting. I'll be landed by then, but I get an update on my flight like every 15 minutes about changing the time. So who knows where I'll be.
Oh yeah, of course. So you got to hope for the best, plan for the worst.
That's what I'm doing. You got it.
All right. So I think that is pretty good here. Do we have anything else, Kathy, before I release everybody?
Not that I'm aware of.
Does anybody else have anything they want to bring up?
I'll just talk to Tammy on who we want to invite, because Board of Health should be invited and such for our next A&O get together on the changes.
Great. All right. I don't see anything else. So have a great night, everybody, and I'll be seeing all of you folks soon.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Seconded.
All in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Have a wonderful night, folks.
6:51.
One. Thanks.
Good night. Take care.
You too.